Pittman Unlimited, which is a website development company that I started in 2001. I also am a published writer. I write primarily contemporary romance and romantic suspense. And today I'm joining you to talk about marketing. For about 7 years, I had a specialty in African American literature across the board, where I was contracted to work with promoting and assisting with publishing African American books. And so I stepped away for a little while and came back to the industry primarily just to work on my own stuff. I was missing being a part of a community in an active way, but also publishing my own work. And so, sister got goals. So, for this workshop, I want you to make sure that you download the worksheet. This is very informal in a sense of my delivery. I'm not going to do a slideshow. I'm not going to do any of that fancy snazzle dazzle. I'm going to give it to you like it came to me. And then if there's any questions that you have, we're either going to have an area for you to put the questions there, or I will do a live Q&A. So with that said, I strongly encourage you to download the worksheet or put it in your iPad if you have the ability to write and take notes on whatever device that you use, and utilize this time to find a way to make your work better. And so I'm going to have a slight glare because I'm recording here, but we're going to get it in, okay? So I did mention that I am a published author. I have, I think, 14 or 15 published stories now. I count every once in a while just to keep myself on course. But for the most part, I just write as it comes to me, stay on track. And marketing is a huge part of what we do as writers, especially if you are self-published. But nowadays, anybody that would like to place their books in someone's device or in someone's hands you marketing is what you really do. The writing to me is the fun part. The marketing is our real task, especially now. Like, I could quote the thousands of books that are published today and the thousands of books that are published in a year or even a month, but in my eyes, that really is invalid in a sense of, if I've already decided that this is what I'm going to do, then those numbers aren't as important to me. What's important to me is whether or not I am reaching my audience and whether or not I'm reaching my ideal reader, and if I am engaging them in a way that will have them anticipating what I have coming down the pipeline. And if I don't have those fans in place, how can I make that happen? And if I do have those fans in place, how can I keep them engaged? Now, we have many workshops that are going on during this time that cover the skill of writing and developing your characters. That's number one. So in this workshop, it really is coming from the position that you already have the product. You already have your book. And so with that said, we're going to jump in to marketing your books with any budget. I will be looking down at my iPad. And so if this informal thing bothers you, my bad. Okay, so here we go. So the first section is on creating. One of the things, I'm not going to read everything. You have to have a book. But one of the things that I strongly encourage you to do is to have some sort of free book or some sort of outtakes, or write a short story, 6,000 words, something so that you can, people call it a loss leader, they call it a lead magnet. To me, it's just an invitation to invite somebody into your world. Now, I'm not saying you write paranormal, but to invite them into your space, to open your door and say that you are welcome. And so you want to have some sort of item, even if it means taking a weekend or taking a week and spending it focused on just creating that one item. And once you do that, you have to make the determination of how you are going to get it out to the world. And there's um, different methods that you can use that I do have some listed. A lot of the things in this handout are going to cover like your email list, because normally when I do this, I do it in a form of growing your email list. But I'm going to talk about that too. So with that said, you want to have some sort of either a novel, a short story, deleted scenes, and all of those things. Package it nicely, and you want to have a way to deliver it to those that want to come to you. So you either are going to have them download it from your site, you're going to have them receive it once they subscribe to your newsletter, and there are different ways that you can do it. Book funnel. You can do it just from your server. You could do it from Google Docs. So, look into that. But you do want to have something like that. And essentially, it's just, you've heard this before, but I'm going to pretend as if you haven't. Is that like if you go to the mall and there's one Chinese restaurant on one side, another Chinese restaurant on the other side, and sometimes they're sitting in that middle passing out samples. They're passing out samples so you can understand, right? You can have a sample and see what they're all about, and to encourage you to come and spend your money. And that's essentially what that's doing. The one thing that I do have on here is that the key to this is make sure that it is one of your best representation. You don't want it that it's a deleted scene because it was a bad scene. I don't know who would have. I mean, yeah. You want it to be your best representation. Again, that's like if they were so sitting out there giving those samples and they were giving you cold food. You're not going to buy anymore. That's not a great representation, okay? So you want to make sure that it is a great representation and great bait for future readers. One of the drawbacks is some people say, well, I don't want to give away my work for free. I've worked so hard. And one of the things that I try to think about whenever I'm having that debate in my head is the fact that people's time is money too. So we're kind of doing an exchange here. And I personally would prefer to give for free a book that will place someone on my email list than having to give away books repeatedly for free and I don't have a direct connection as to getting their contact information. But that's just, me personally. The next thing that you have to consider in the creating phase is that you let me back up to make sure. For the number one, when you have a way to deliver, that's usually your email, right? Or I would include that in your email, your website. Some people will include their social media. I don't include the social media in that phase because you can't control the social media. You can put content up, but it can go away. Okay, so I think your website, your email list. And those two things are in step one. Step two is some sort of magnet, whether it's your short story, novel, deleted scenes. At one time, I did character sketches. People used to love those. And so I did those until I had books that I could filter in and out of that system. The last thing is have a plan. And in the beginning, I strongly encourage you to have like some sort of specific window of time, 30 days, 45 days, 100 days, that you're going to do a thing and then evaluate it. Because in the moment, it always feels like, okay, we're behind the clock or nothing is happening. But over time, you can develop a momentum so that you are making consistent changes to your business and to your publishing. So here, one of the quotes I put down was planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. And so if you know, for example, that you want to eventually walk away from your full-time job, well, then you need to set up a plan so that today you're doing what it will take to walk away from your job in 6 months, in 9 months, in a year. And it should be consistent with what you believe is going to produce, whether it's the number of books, the number of sales, the number of revenue to make that happen. And so that's what the plan will do with you. And the end game is, and all of this is to get your books in people's hands or into their devices so that you can do all these things, right? To grow, have more readers, generate more income, have fun, and make it all work. The last step in this is just to have a persistent mind. This is not a short range goal for most people. Even if you just do it as a hobby for fun, it's still not a short range goal because you've probably wanted to do this since you were a child. So if you think about it and add up the days and add up the years, you've been doing this a long time. And so it's the same thing. You're just being a little more focused in your approach. Now we are at the phase of the marketing. Now, when you sit down to do your marketing with your plan, I separate my marketing plan into different sections. Now, I don't always sit down and do it all at one time. I used to do it years ago. But now I kind of look at my year overall, and I have certain areas where I know that they are free um, to low budget budgeting items. Then there are the ones that are normally my normal, consistent, regular budget. So usually around in that middle lane because that's my constant. And then I may have what my plan is for my higher end of the budget, which is usually launch weeks, big times of the year, holiday times, big pushes and drives. And that hiring is not going to be all the time. But I do want to understand and know what are the resources and the avenues that I intend to utilize in each one of those stages. So let's talk about those. On your lower end, because this is the question that I receive a lot. What do you do if you don't have a lot of money to market? I don't have $20 a day, or I don't have $100 a day to place in ads. So for some people, ads, whether Facebook or AMS or AA, whatever they're called, ads, I would consider those kind of that middle of the lane for most people, that consistent thing, but that's not true for everyone. So if you don't have that type of budget, what are some things that you can have in that lower category, that free to low budget category? One of those items are that swaps. Now, what are swaps? Swaps are they are where swaps are where you say to another author, hey, if you share my book, I'll share yours. Um, there's mixed feelings about them. I use them on almost every single launch and I enjoy them. I think they work. I don't look at them as a sense of doing a swap garners so many sales in my book. I do swaps to put my book cover in front of more eyes. Okay. So it's all about how you look at it. The way that you can do that, if you look on the handout, is there are different places that you can go to and you can say, hey, I have this book coming up. Each of one of those places, if you're on Facebook, do request a certain format for posting, but you'll say, hey, I have a book coming up. I'm looking for swaps. And that is going to be a free method. The way that I handle swaps is that I have a group of authors that if they did swaps for me in the past or I've done swaps with them in the past, then what I do is I keep a list and I reach out to those same people every time. The next thing that you can do that's on your lower end to free lane, and this one will be normally paid, which is list builders. List builders have kind of tapered off in the past year or so, but they are still available. And usually that's where there's a big gathering of authors coming together and they are building in exchange for people joining a giveaway. They are providing their email address. Now, these particular things I don't personally use anymore, but in the beginning I did use them. And I'm going to just quickly the pros and cons. For me, the pro is that you do get your book or you can grow your email list. And as you grow your email list, then which we're going to cover in just a second, you engage those people to hold on to them. One of the cons that a lot of people have with those list builders is that they didn't retain the people. They didn't stick around or they didn't buy. And I think that is more so an indication of how you engage the people once they're on your list, not necessarily the way they came to your list, if that makes sense. And so I still think of those as an option, especially if you're someone that has a very low email list and you want to grow it. One of the things that you could consider if you're concerned about it is maybe having two separate threads or two separate email lists in the beginning, one for the one that you do with list builders, another one that you do organically, and just kind of watch and gauge. And it does mean that you'll have two separate list, but at the same time, you do know the source. So I did list a couple of options here. Um, for the most part, I've used all of them. And again, it's not something that I use all the time, but it is something that I used in the beginning, and I still think it's viable, especially when you're just starting out. You don't have anybody. And if you don't have anybody in the sea of a bunch of people, the ability to, this is the example that I give people. When you're in, this whole space of selling your books and it's so many people, it's as if you're standing in the middle of a stadium trying to pitch your book. As people are talking and moving around, they can't hear you. It's too noisy. You just look like this speck in the middle of people. But if you can pull over 5 or 10 or 100 into a small room, we gonna take them up to the what's the box called? The stadium seating or the stadium box where the owners go. And we're just gonna have a small, casual, comfortable conversation there. The likelihood that you can bring them forward and lean into what you have to say, lean into what you have to share is more likely. The other thing is, I don't see people unsubscribing as a bad thing. It just means that what I'm saying doesn't appeal to them. And because I pay for my email list, I want them to go as soon as possible. Save me my money and let those who want to stay. And I do go through and call my list as often as I need to, but I find that I have a nice size list and they open and we have a good time. The last thing that you can do, and this is something that I do frequently, which is host giveaways. Again, the pros and cons, and you can read the details there. There are pros and cons to doing giveaways. In the beginning, I always said, I don't want to give away my books. And so my attitude to that now is the same. So that when people do receive a giveaway for my book, they know that it is something that is rare, especially for people that are on my list. But now what I do is I have changed my mindset to train the people who read my books how I function and how I work. So they know if I have something on a special promotion for 99 cents, that's rare. I don't launch at 99 cents. I don't sell at 99 cents. And so they know that, and my list knows that. So they wait, and if it doesn't go on, they will send me emails like it's not 99 cents yet. And I do that for a reason, but that's because I have a plan and I work my plan and I monitor my plan. Okay. So there is the hosted giveaways. There are giveaways through other people. There are giveaways that you can do yourself. I do both. I did put a couple of service providers. There are the Amazon giveaways that you can do. There's Book Funnel, Insta Freebie, King Sumu, Rafflecopter, all of those providers that you can utilize. I think the biggest thing here is if you're a person that you don't want to give away your books as a part of a giveaway, well, then find something else. Do signed copies of your book, do swag, do different things. I have found that it's okay to do giveaways for the books. People that want to buy are going to buy. So I just try to be very strategic in how I give away books. That's it. It's just the name of the game. And so, with that said, this doing giveaways can be viewing giveaways can be on two different kind of levels. One can be an engaging, right, to bring in new readers, but giveaways can also be a way for you to nurture a relationship. Think about it this way. If you were in a relationship with your spouse or a significant other and they never gave you a gift, okay, my love language is gift giving, okay? And they never gave you a gift, I would just give them a side eye, like, bruh. You see what I'm saying? So I see it as a way to engage my audience. So it may be an Amazon gift card, it may be books, it may be swag, it may be something totally different. But those are things that I do on a consistent basis, and I plan those out typically at the end of the year for the following year. So I know what I'm going to do. And so, you do, again, what goes with your plan and what works for you and what works for your budget. But with all of that said, if you were to join something like a larger group, um, the site that I do, which is blacklovebooks.com, we do giveaways as a group on a regular basis where someone may join that for $5. That's $5. It's cheaper almost to do it as a group than it is to do it on your own. But when you do it on your own, it's only your book on display. But do you have the same reach that you would have when it is 5, 10, 15, 20 authors pushing that same giveaway? Probably not, right? So that's the trade-off, okay? So we have just to before we move on, when you look at those different compartments, you have your free to low budget, your middle ground budget, and then or your middle of the road, which I always consider that middle of the road your consistent things that you do on a regular basis, and on the higher end, or maybe or the other end may be giveaways that you do, whether individually or with a group. I am not touching on ads, but I'm going to do it here for just a moment, and it's not in the handout. I personally do ads. I do Amazon ads and I do Facebook ads. Do I believe ads should be a part of your equation? Yes. I think they should. Even if it's for $5 a day or a dollar. Well, I think the lowest that they'll do is $2 or $2.50 a day. And it may be that you can't do it every day, but maybe you just don't get a coffee. Don't go out to eat once a month, and you take that money and you set it aside for the launch of your next book. But the reason why I think it's invaluable is because most of us do not have a huge list. And allowing those different venues to place your books in front of people you could probably never reach is another opportunity. It's a paid opportunity, but it's another opportunity. Another thing that I did not mention is what I will call old school blasts. They don't call them that anymore. I guess you would call them list placements in other lists. I do use those, not as frequently, but I do use those, and those are a part of my launch plan, but it's not a part of that middle ground. It's not the part of the thing that I do all of the time. That is something that I do around launch time. What I do is I just determine my budget, and I do what I can do fit in that budget. And if I can't do it, I move on to the next thing. Okay, on to the next one. So that is your growing. With that, you can see that, you may do a list builder and have maybe, I don't know, 1,000 new people come on. You may lose 10 to 25% of those. Nowadays, because a lot of people don't do those as much, you don't get them, you may not get as many, but you may still get a few hundred. If you get a few hundred, just guesstimate that you're going to lose about 20 to 25% of those, which is, to me, it's fine, because that's still 75% to 80% that you may not have had an interaction with before. And so the next portion is the part that I feel like is your secret sauce. If you are a person that your budget is tight, then girl or guy, work what you have. Don't think about what everybody else is doing. Work your lane, work what you have. And this section is a work what you have section, okay? So the next thing is nurturing. How do you nurture the people once you have them? And almost everything in this area is not going to cost you anything more. What it will cost you is time and your focus and your willingness to make a plan for yourself. Yes, as you can hear, I love to plan. Why? Because if I don't plan, it's not going to get done. I need to write. I need to get things edited. I need to get covers. I need to take care of kids. I got to help. All of those things. I'm not thinking you need to post on Instagram. That's not high on my priority, but it should be if that's a part of my plan. If I have a book coming out like I did this week, posting on Instagram is important, right? So that's why the plan is important. Nurturing. I'm narrowing this down to what I call the touch approach. It's timing, objective, that you have to have a unique quality, your content, and heart. And I'm going to break it down. T, timing. How often will you interact with your readers? So once they're on your list, and when I say this, when I get here, these are people that are on your list and they're subscribed. I am not including your blog. I don't include your blog because I still feel like that is a wide net. I feel like on your list, it's almost like if you got them in your personal pond and you trying to get them suckers on the hook. Y'all gotta Y'all gonna click out of this video. Okay, keep going. How often? Are you gonna do it weekly? Are you going to do it monthly? Decide and stick to it. I personally, again, I can only give you personal things. I could have done a poll, but I didn't. I personally email my list every week. Every week, all year long. I usually say I'm going to take time off at the end of the year, and they know that, but usually I don't. I do it every single week, and every year I do a reader survey where they get to vote how often I will send newsletters for the following year. And for the past 3 years, they voted on me sending weekly emails. And so, therefore, I think I end up having like 75 to 85% voted for weekly emails. So, I send a weekly email. And here's the deal, when you do it, do it. This is a relationship. You're building a relationship. Again, if your spouse or your significant other said, babe, boo, I'm going to call you at this time, and they don't call you for a week, 2 weeks, is that still your babe? Is that still your boo? No, right? Or it shouldn't be. If it is, then you can get with me offline. But you need to engage them, and you need to do what you say you're going to do. And then when I can't, I apologize, because I will want someone to do that for me. Even if they don't open it, it's the fact that we're building a relationship. And because we're doing that and building this relationship, they open when I send. And when they open when I send, that grows into they click when I publish. And it's a relationship. Okay. The other thing is, what is your objective? Why are you sharing with this list? This seems like obvious, but it really isn't. Because sometimes I do subscribe to people's newsletters because I like to see, and I'm a reader. I have some people that I love, but I only hear from them when they have a new release. Now, if they're not one of my favorite faves and I got a handful of those, I'm not going to jump to buy. I'm just not, because I don't feel like I'm a priority. Right? So think about why you're sharing. Are you sharing because you have a release or a giveaway or general engagement? And just to let you know, you should have a healthy cocktail, a healthy recipe of all of it. Every week shouldn't be buy, 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 buy. You have those people in your life too. What do? If every time they see you, all they're doing is asking for something, right? So what I do is I plan out my newsletters roughly over the year, so I know when I have a release coming out. I ensure that I give them space so that I am not doing buy every newsletter. I do share other people's books, but this is something else that I ask my newsletter about. Do you want to see books from other authors? Most of the time it's yes. You know, but I know, hey, this is a giveaway one. Here's it. So I spread those out. So when I'm looking for opportunities to share my books, I know what's coming up in my newsletter. Okay. So know what your objective is. So we have timing, objective, unique. Here is where, like, this is your secret sauce. All these songs about sauce all on you. I don't know when you're watching this. This may be old. I may be showing my age. But what is your secret sauce? Why is it that they want to open? Mine is, I don't write humor, but I write my newsletters like this is my girlfriend. This is my friend. Hey, man, things are crazy right now. This is me, right? And it's funny because as I do it and I engage them and things are going on, I get emails back. And when I get emails back, I respond to them. When things are going on or I mention something in my newsletter, people respond back, oh, congratulations, or oh, I hate to hear that, and it becomes again this relationship that's building between me and my readers, right? So no, a part of that uniqueness is your color scheme. It's your graphics. Every year I change the header on my graphics of my newsletter. So for that year, it's that same one, but they get a fresh new look every January. I have the same layout. They can skim. They know where the books are by other people. They know where the giveaways are at the bottom. Right? Because it's this consistency. And it's a part of this sense of being comfortable with you. And if you don't have that, fix it. All this stuff is fixable. It's doable. You can do it. Fix it. I have a color scheme. Yes. Do I do the same thing? Yes. Is it complicated? No. But once you set it up, you just keep to that same thing. Okay. C. Content. I put here content is king, but marketing is queen, and she runs the household. Okay. Content is queen. Look, happy wife, happy life, right? If your marketing is not right, I don't care what you write. If you're not somebody, and even the people that are really big in the industry, that they can pull people in just by their name. The reason why they can pull people by their name is because their content has been consistent for years, that they could even go without the marketing. They could just slap their name on it. Now, they can only get away with that for so long if the content is not right, but they can do it. Okay. So here it's really about, your content. That's number one. You want to have good content, but your marketing's got to be on point. So here, give them a reason to open your emails. And I don't mean you got to be giving away things every time. And I'm going to give you this example. I know this is a long one, and I'm sorry, not sorry. For at one season, every time I do my survey at the end of the year, I'm playing with different things to ensure that I'm having a good mixture of everything, and letting my readers know that they're part of this equation, that this is our thing. It's not just my thing. I write, but they got to buy. And if the two of us are not doing our job, then this thing doesn't function, right? It's like a car without gas. So at one time, I was thinking, well, what if I just start offering an Amazon gift card every newsletter, or every or once a month, or whatever? I literally had the people vote for it. It was they said they didn't need it. They wasn't worried about it. They just wanted to know what was going on. And that blew my mind, because I thought, of course, people will want Amazon money. Who doesn't shop on Amazon? But they didn't. They just wanted to hear from me. Most of them was, nope, keep doing what you're doing. Keep releasing good books. Keep doing what you're doing. And what do? I keep doing what I'm doing. But I still ask them. And I get hundreds and hundreds of thank yous. I do the survey once a year. My survey goes out to my entire list. I get around 25 to 30. I think last year I got like 50%, close to 50% or something of my readers that answer the newsletter. And the survey, and it's a long survey. It's a real long survey. But they do it every year. So timing, objective, unique, content, heart. Before I move on to heart, the content, I did give examples, giveaways, behind the scenes, cover reveals. There were a lot of things that I put in my newsletter weeks before they hit the public. That's why I don't count your blog in this. I do cover releases. I let them help me name characters. I ask them for help with story ideas, and they do all of it. And that's why they open. Okay. Heart. I keep saying all of them are important. They all are important, okay? But heart, infuse yourself into your communication. The way that I'm talking right now, this is how I talk. I may sound like I got a Texas twang to it because I'm in Houston, okay? But this is the way I talk. I say y'all. I try to be proper. It's like, look, if y'all my friends, y'all, I say y'all. I love hard, I go hard. And they know that too. If I feel like, if I have something coming out, and I say, a couple weeks ago I was doing a promotion, and I said point blank period, if people don't click the button, I'm not doing this promotion again. What do people do? They click that button. Will I do that every newsletter? No. But they do understand that if I say I'm not going to do it again, they won't see it again for at least a year. And that's because that I'm telling them I'm keeping them 100. I'm keeping them accountable. I'm accountable. And again, it's that we both got to play our part. Another part of the heart is, this is where I infuse parts of myself. I love to quilt. I share quilts when I go on quilt retreats. Every year I go to a mom's summer camp. I share pictures for me, horseback riding, and doing something by a campfire, or me sitting in a rocking chair knitting. or anything that I do that's outside of writing, but still very vital to who I am. Is that in every newsletter? No. But I do. And I get hear so many things about readers. Some of my beta readers came because they were intrigued by the fact that we had a similar hobby. But that's because I infuse myself into it. And it goes beyond me as a writer, but those things influence my writing. No, I don't write about knitting or crafting, but it's the way that I think to get the story out. And I do give examples. I do set limits. I don't share, for the most part, pictures of my kids. My current newsletter has been active for about 4 years. I may have shared 3 pictures of my children, maybe 2 of my husband. I do mention them from time to time as we've transitioned through seasons. Because now at this stage, they've gone from being teenagers to now being adults. And a lot of the people on my list have been with me for that journey. But it's not something that's on a regular basis. So determine your limits and then take it from there. This is where I'm going to do the bonuses. I hope that this has been enjoyable for you, that you have learned too much information, and that you have pinpointed the areas that you can actively work on for your business and for your publishing and for your books. Number 1 bonus is get a free boost or get a Facebook boost free. Okay. And it's a bonus, low hanging fruit. So, how do you get a free Facebook boost? First of all, you got to have a Facebook page for your books or for you as an author. And one of the things that you can do to get a boost free, I'm air quoting, is that you can place okay, y'all can't be telling everybody these bonuses. First of all, I should have said that because I don't tell everybody this. Okay. So what you do is you can post a picture or post a poll on your Facebook page. And I would not suggest you do it on your personal profile. That's why I say page. Put the picture on there or the poll. And then when you send out your newsletter, point them to that page or post. So for example, you may say, hey, my next giveaway, should I give away an ebook or should I give away a signed printed copy? Click here to tell me your answer and send them to your Facebook page. And if your audience on your newsletter are very interactive, then you will get a lot of engagement on that post, which will then expose that post to more people that follow that page or like your page in the whole Facebook algorithm. Now, the low-hanging fruit part of that is that if you go into your engagements where you have your likes, your loves, your wows, your laughters, you can click on that link and it will show you of the people that engaged that post, the ones that are not following your page. And you can click invite. That's low-hanging fruit. You didn't have to pay for that fruit. So you click invite, 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 invite. So they may have engaged with it and they may have been on your list, but they may not like your page. And now you can invite them to your page. Bonus number 2, cool kids toys. And this is one of the things that I would need to do as a secondary thing, but it's little things like how to pre-format your posts and how to format, which is huge, your text in your description for Amazon. And so, and I will take those cool kid toys and our tools, and I will put them in a separate handout that we will make available to you. But all of these things are not required, but it does make your life a little bit easier. The last bonus is don't be scared. Okay, this is the closing. This is much longer than what we anticipated. I hope that you have enjoyed this, but I do want to tell you, don't be scared. You've done the hardest part, which is writing. And if you haven't finished your book, do it. Don't regret it. Don't wait for people to give you permission. And if you need permission, I'm giving it to you now. Write the book. Publish the book. Do the best that you can and then send it out into the world without any regrets. The wonderful thing about if you do it on your own is you can always fix it. Like, that's not what you want to think, but you can fix it. But you can't fix when you've um, dampened your spirit and dampened your resolve to pursue your goals and to pursue your dreams. That's harder to fix. That's harder to fix than adding a comma and republishing. So do publish. Do go after your dream and don't be scared, okay? The last quote that I have here is, "For tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today." I hope that you're preparing for it today and that this marketing workshop is just a little bit to help you in creating, in growing, and in nurturing your audience, and that I've shared with you different price points for engaging that audience, from free. Some of it is free with a lot of elbow grease. It just is. You can't get free. Is never free. All the way to the more expensive, which may be group promotions, which may be sending out through other people's lists, which may be ads. Okay? Again, my name is Dana. Thank you so much for joining me for this workshop. Let me know if you, or look around, because I don't know how we're going to do the Q&A. I look forward to your specific questions, and best wishes to you. You don't need luck. You got that. You're here. Best wishes to you. Do the daggone thing. And I hope to see you again soon.